Mate, is it tiring, like, using your brain and, like, thinking through things and trying to, like, understand, like, whether or not that'd be, like, a good thing to do? It's like, fucking hell, I didn't know I'd have to rub some brain cells together today. Nobody told me this. I don't get paid enough to think. You read my mind, you predicted, you did, you really did. Right, I thought this was a really interesting video because it demonstrated precisely why Isaac Butterfield doesn't debate, because he doesn't know what he's fucking talking about. I'm gonna make a probably like a little cringe clip for my second channel, Salads. If you have not subscribed, type in Salads, okay, into YouTube, and you're gonna find it, okay? It's got the cute cult symbol. You can't go wrong. If 6 minutes in and he's on the ad still. All right, let's see how he's cropped this, shall we?
Come from a part of the world in Australia where, like, fighting is like something you do when you genuinely hate a person and you want to hurt them beyond, you know, any repair or beyond recognition of what they used to look like. And it seems to me that I made a video about you, you make a video about me, and then you go straight to a fight. Like, it does come across like so childish that it is hilarious to look at. Like, people...
I find it weird, right? Firstly, I don't know what part of the world where you don't fight when you don't like someone. I thought, you know, I don't think Australia's special. If you want to fight someone, it's because you don't like them, usually. Unless you do, you know, like an MMA match or something like that. It's a sport, which is what he was challenged to. And Childish, coming from this dude who makes butt and penis jokes every 5 seconds. My God.
Look at you when you say that and just go, are you the full fucking quid?
Well, I challenged you to an MMA match.
I know.
It's a little different than a fight. It's not like a street fight.
Okay, let's go ahead, shall we? Like, come on. I want to get to the vegan bit. It was just
extremely explosive anger that I over that. Like, yeah, cows have spots. They're bigger than...
There we go.
People,
like, again...
Don't you say human? Oh, fuck, you cannot... I've never killed an animal.
I've never killed...
Right,
out of the... Sure. So then, what's your justification for killing animals?
They're delicious.
I've never killed an animal.
I've never killed one personally, but I've eaten heaps of them.
You pay for them to be killed, which I would say is essentially the same thing.
Well, they're delicious.
So far, we've got they're delicious. So taste, though. We are on the top tier. Like, oh my God. I would be so frightened to debate Isaac Butterfield and his... friend. I really would, because this is just top tier argumentation.
That would be my argument.
We just had a very nice steak.
Well, in doing so, you're committing an immoral act that's similar to, say, killing a mentally
Don't you say
disabled
human.
person.
You cannot keep saying human.
Well, you agree. When you mention something...
Why can't you, though? Right? Because we're going to go through how Isaac can't find the morally relevant or substantive difference between humans and other animals, right? So why can't you? You haven't actually substantiated why you can't make that comparison.
Like intelligence, and then I bring up the hypothetical.
Yeah,
of a
but
mentally disabled
cows are not
person.
people.
You're against that.
They don't need to be people to still be valued insofar as they're not exploited and killed. Dogs aren't people. Cats aren't people. Do you think we should start, like, systematically exploiting and killing them because they taste good? My God, like...
Cows are not people.
I don't know. Cows are not people.
Like, again...
Do you know that cows are not people?
Run the
it's just so ridiculous how, like, dishonest, like, non-vegans have to be. It's quite clear, right? Most vegans have functional eyes. I mean, I don't. Okay? But I've got my aids on, all right? Got me granny aids on. I can see, and I'm pretty sure Richard can see, that a cow and a human are different. Alright? They are. But as Richard makes painfully clear multiple times, the differences don't seem to justify the exploitation and killing of one. Huh?
When I asked you, okay, is it okay to kill something as long as it's not human? You've said
yes.
No.
We've agreed we can't think of a reason why there's a moral reason, but we can agree that
So
cows
then
are
you
not
do
people.
recognize-
Yeah, okay. We can agree that cows are not people. We can agree that cows are not human beings, but as you've demonstrated, you can't find a relevant difference that would justify exploiting and killing them. All right? So you, right, you're doing something extremely invasive to a subject, right? You are paying someone to exploit and kill them. So, in doing so, you have to be able to justify that. But you can't justify it except with taste pleasure. But if, then vegan gains is like, well, okay, so, if it were a human and they tasted good, and then you're like, you can't compare humans to other animals. But you haven't explained why.
Right, so then you do recognize you're committing an immoral act that's comparable to killing a mentally disabled person.
Do you realize that humans and cows are different?
Yes, they're not the same.
We've already been over that. Like, yeah, cows have spots. They're bigger than us.
They got udders.
Yeah, I
To
realize.
be fair, I have spots too, right? Where's the acne gang, okay? Where's the acne lads?
So
a cow is not a mentally disabled
different.
person. So killing one and it's not like killing the same thing at all.
If I brought you cornflakes
No,
and
it
you
is.
wanted Cocoa
Well,
Pops,
again, no, again.
All right, morally
there's
sincere.
no. Everyone, no. Now I
Explain
have
to me
to.
the difference. Can you
Now I
explain
have
to
to
me the
step
difference
in.
between
No,
killing
we
and
can't.
mentally
No,
disabled?
you can't. You have no idea what he's talking about. You ding dongs. Yeah, you have Isaac constantly talking about or attempting to justify the exploitation and killing of animals and making fun of people who make a case against that. Yet you have no bloody idea what you're talking about. This is why a debate took so long, all right? Because Isaac doesn't have a bloody clue.
Told you this. We fucking can't.
It's
If you
just
can't, then how can you claim it's different?
the difference is they're just not the same. That is
It's
the
just
difference.
what we do. They're not
There
the
doesn't
same
need to
thing.
be a study. There
that's-
doesn't need to be an article written on it. The
Isaac has not encountered Logic 101. Apparently, not even 101, all right? Did you know, Isaac, that if you make a statement, then you substantiate it? You don't necessarily need data for that, but it's got to follow some sort of logic, like a logical tree, all right? A nice little tree, Isaac. Say for example, let's just boil it down. If I stab a dog, but if I stab my table, right? These are two different things, right? I could be like, well, a table and a dog aren't the same. Yeah, hello? Yeah, we know, okay? They're not the same. But what is it about stabbing a dog that would be bad, but stabbing a table that wouldn't matter? Well, because the sentience, they're a subject with the capacity to experience and, to suffer, to experience well-being. And it's like, if I said to you, right, can I kill, a cat, but not a dog? And you're like, no, but, they're both animals, they both experience, so, would you be like, oh, no, you can kill one because a dog and a cat aren't the same? It's like the brain switches off when veganism enters the chat. It's amazing.
difference is they are not.
Right. Well, I can find two people who aren't the same.
Why are they laughing when they have no idea what they're talking about? Is that nervous laughter, or are they really that dippy that they're just really unsure of how silly they look?
Yeah, but
I can
species,
find two
different
people who aren't the
species.
same.
Yeah, but can we say the human being species, right? We can all agree that that's the same, right? Even though I know you're saying black, white, blah blah blah, blah. We're all human beings, yes.
So the human genus
So
is
human
one
beings
side.
These are
No,
just
no, no, no.
words. I can define human.
Oh, here
in
we
a
go. We can
variety
get
of
back to
different ways.
we can get back to definitions.
I'm really wishing that Richard asked, because he kind of stuck on this. I'm wishing he just took the approach of being like, okay, so why is it bad to hurt a human? Why is it bad to kill a human? And then, why is it bad to, kill a dog or a cat or hurt a dog or a cat? And then go through that. And then be like, well, for the same reasons it would be bad to do that, it would be bad, in your view, to do that to another animal because they also have the capacity to experience that. I wish that come up, and I really wish that I could speak to Isaac. I would love to go onto his podcast, but, unfortunately, I'm not really big enough. I don't think I'd have a chance. But, I might shoot a message and see. You never know. Might as well ask. And I'd love to just ask him that because I think that would probe a bit more. And, master prober here. Okay.
Now, okay, cool. So it's okay, no worries.
Well, look, the Nazis viewed Jews as completely different species.
Are you saying you're a Nazi?
I mean,
are you a Nazi?
No.
You're not a Nazi.
Oh my god,
Are you a Nazi?
This one right? Ding-dongery at its finest, right? I'm knocking on the door, right? The lights, they're not on. Turn on your lights, mate, okay? I know you've got it in you.
Sympathizer.
So these are just words. I mean,
everything's
again,
just words.
I want to hear a morally substantial.
I know you do. You've said that.
Still haven't been able to.
You've said that.
I said you're not allowed to say the word
you're not allowed
morally
to say that
substantive. All right, you need to get a beer or something and drink every time you say the word morally substantive.
It'd be a good drinking game. If you're listening to this podcast, every time Mr. Gaines says morally substantive, you gotta have a drink.
You got a skull.
You'd be hammered. Is it tiring?
Yeah, I mean, like, you can mock it if you want, but, like, it's actually kind of a simple question. Like, I mean, maybe it wouldn't be if you've, like, not engaged with it, but given that Isaac has talked about veganism for so long and roasted it, you'd think that he would, like, know enough to actually go against it. It's just like then he must be aimlessly saying things about veganism and laughing at it, but not actually thinking about it at all, which is kind of embarrassing. Like, you would hope that when people are talking about stuff, they have thought it through. Like, I know it's difficult when you're like on a live stream to think everything through and you do it then. But Isaac, like, for the most part, when he's making these videos, he's like, it's post-production. He's like looking at it, he's editing it. It's just like, wouldn't you think about it? like, oh, what about them makes it okay, but not these ones? Well, it's not these things that I'm listing, like taste, pleasure, and stuff like that, because, you know, arguably humans could taste really good. Like, so it's not intelligence, because, like, I wouldn't accept that, you know, in the human context. So, like, what is it? But it's not gone any further. It's just like, mate.
Putting so much thought into all this stuff.
Everything
These are things that I've never ever.
Wait, I want to hear that again.
Is it tiring putting so much thought into all this stuff?
Everything
Mate, is it tiring, like, using your brain and, like, thinking through things and trying to, like, understand, like, whether or not that'd be, like, a good thing to do? Like, tell me, mate, is that something that, like, tires you out? Because, to be honest, mate, when I have to think about, like, whether or not I should do something, it, like, really makes me tired for the rest of the day. Like, I don't know how you do it. I really don't. Like, I'm gonna put, like, a little, like, clip compilation of the whole thing. Oh, it's gonna be great. I can't. Right.
These are things that I've never ever
because like, and I think this is why we struggle with these arguments, is because, like, I just couldn't give a fuck.
I would have never given two thoughts.
I mean, just there's struggling with an argument, right? It's not that even if you don't care, you don't necessarily then struggle.
Any of this without us having this conversation?
Not even once. I think we are so behind this argument because it's just like,
it's obviously things you've thought of a lot. And
who cares?
Yeah.
Maybe the trillions of sentient beings that are killed every single year, maybe they care. Maybe, like, when we look at, like, animal agriculture and its effects on the planet and, like, its environmental devastation, maybe the people are going to care, like, that we are destroying, you know, very quickly, like, the only place we can inhabit. Maybe we'll care about that. It just seems like you're saying who cares because you have no idea what's going on and you don't want to look like a dafty. Maybe.
Fuck them. If you're a cow and you can't defend yourself, fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah, so if we
Isaac,
were to
comedy
find
gold.
a human that had similar characteristics to a cow, like lack of intelligence, you'd be fine with killing that human?
If it was a cow, yes.
No, but I reckon you're the only bloke that would have ever thought of that comparison.
But you can't
Like, that's
take
insane.
everything back to, like, what if you...
Yeah, no, guys, Vegan Gains is, like, the only vegan who has thought this through. Like, mate, you got, like, a revolutionary thought going on here. Like, you're thinking about other animals and thinking that maybe, like, you know, there's nothing really about them that would make that okay to do to them. And, like, I think that, like, literally, you are the only person who's done that.
What if you spray some ants that are in your kitchen? Would you spray humans? Like, it's not an argument.
So No, the reason why it's okay to spray ants in your kitchen is because they are violating your rights.
What if
They're
a cow's in your-
Oh, it's like in America when someone breaks into your house. They're like, "I was standing my ground," and you just get to shoot them. Like
Defending
the
your
ants are in your
family.
house. You're like, "I'm standing my ground," and you just.
Yeah, they are invading, and if the only practical way to get rid of them is to kill them, then yeah, that's fine.
So you kill ants.
Yeah.
So you're full of shit.
I
You're not
haven't
a vegan.
needed to kill ants.
No, I
in
was
quite a
standing
while,
my ground. They were in my kitchen.
What if a cow's in my kitchen? What if for some reason there's a cow in my kitchen? Can I kill it and eat it?
If the only way to get rid of it is to use lethal force, then sure.
Lethal force.
But
Well, there we go. We found a way
it would
around
be the
veganism.
same if it were a
I
human.
feel like his body is like more of a comedian than Isaac is. Because he has like no idea what's going on. It's like hilarious.
Being. Like, if the only way to remove a human being from your property is to use lethal force, then it's fine.
You know, there's other ways to look at it rather than comparing animals to humans every single time because they're just not the same. I think
we certainly aren't the same, but I don't see a morally substantive difference that would justify that sort of difference in treatment.
I think the argument is they're just not the same.
That's not how an
okay.
argument.
It's why we don't have. It's
we're
why we
not
don't have
the same.
sex. It's why we don't have sex with animals. Like it's why you mate with. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're not the
Okay,
same.
well, we're not the same. We have different level of intelligence. You have a bigger beard. We're different age.
That's not how the argument functions. Like in any other context, I don't like. Like exactly what Rich is about to say. Like we are different. I could compare myself to like anyone in the chat right now. You know, we've got different hair colors. You know, we're different gender identity. We have a different sexual preference. Like, I don't. Yeah, okay. Like, what about them would make it like then justified to like do the things that we're doing, or a differentiation in treatment? Like, what would make that okay? And Isaac and his matey over there have got nothing.
I'm black, you're white. Like, okay.
Yeah, but we all walk around on. We're all the
none
same
of these
species. We're all the same
none of these
species.
things, yeah, none of these things are morally substantive differences that would justify a difference in treatment between me and you. So can you
Yeah,
identify?
but we're the same species. I just did. We're the same species.
Well, that's great, but can you identify a morally substantive difference between a human and an animal where it would be justifiable to violate an animal's rights, but it wouldn't be justifiable to violate a human's rights?
Because we have a hierarchy.
We're talking about the hierarchy of the scientific.
It's the
Whatever
same
you were talking
thing.
about before. There's
There's
a
a
hierarchy.
To the hierarchy of scientific evidence. He's like, well, look, there's a hierarchy in science, so that means that like there's got to be a hierarchy, like with other individuals where we kill some. It just means that. That's what that means.
Right,
What do you
And we're
mean
number
by
one.
hierarchy?
There's a hierarchy there's a hierarchy of humans here, animals below that. And we kill animals, we eat animals. That is the end of the argument.
But what do
They are not-
you mean by hierarchy? Like, can you
It's
explain?
the same reason why you favor some scientific articles, like you were saying before. You favor some more than others because there's a hierarchy, mate. Some things.
Yeah, but the hierarchy is different. It's like a different functionality. The reason there's a hierarchy is because that when you're looking at the hierarchy of scientific evidence, there's ones that are like more reliable, like the research, the variables that they've controlled for, the like number of people who are involved, stuff like that accounts for like why it's more reliable. That's not the same as like a hierarchy that you're talking about where it's like superiority. So like insofar as, oh well, because we are human, because we are somehow better, we're like above, or there's something inherently about us, therefore we can yeet every single one of you. It's like a different hierarchy that you're talking about. So I don't,
come before others. Some are more dominant than others.
Some are more important
Some are
than
more
others.
important than others. And the way that things have panned out in humanity is that we're on top.
You're still not really explaining yourself. Like, do you mean because we're smarter or better in
But
some
you know
way?
what?
We can change our environment.
I tend to agree that it's not a good argument that we're better.
See,
Even though
see, Isaac is using some brain cells. I love this, Isaac. I knew they were in you, okay? Your mate is being like a ding-dong, okay? And his lights have not switched on, okay? He can turn them on later, all right? But Isaac's like, right, I agree. That's not a good argument. Thank you, Isaac. Right, let's get somewhere, shall we?
Even though
I think it's a fine argument.
Even though we are, I tend to agree it's not a great argument because you could say, well, what should we put people who are disabled? Should we, get rid of them because they're not as good? I understand.
Yeah, that's kind of the route I was going to go down.
Yeah, I fucking know what you're up to, you little shit. My point is that there is a difference between animals and human beings.
Right, but I'm asking you to point out a morally substantive difference.
Okay,
so,
what would...
You're even agreeing with me that, like, a mentally disabled human being, it wouldn't be justifiable to violate their rights, even
because they're a human being.
Oh my god.
Okay, so are you saying
God.
just because they're not...
Just a second. Okay. Just a little break, okay? The guy in the white shirt is, like, physically hurting me. Okay, back.
Human, it is therefore okay to kill them.
Nailed it.
I only eat autistic cows. That's
what?
I only eat autistic
okay,
cows.
do you actually believe that? Like, if you're not...
I mean, I know Isaac's thing is to just be insensitive, right, to anyone and anything. But for God's sake,
not human, therefore it's okay to kill you.
No, but like that's what we eat, isn't it?
oh my God.
So
Bless him.
that's not the reason why it's okay to kill animals.
What do you mean?
They're a food source.
Oh my God.
Okay, well, humans are a food source.
He's like, hang on.
Therefore it's okay to kill you.
No, but like that's what we eat, isn't it?
He's really having a hard time right now. He's like, fucking hell, I didn't know I'd have to rub some brain cells together today. Nobody told me this. I don't get paid enough to think. To fuck. Like, but like, what's the problem? I don't get it. Like, it's there, isn't it? What's the problem? Nah. Oh, bro.
So that's not the reason why it's okay to kill animals.
What do you mean?
They're a food source.
Okay, well,
He's confused.
humans are a food source. Like, if you've ever seen footage of civil wars in Liberia, guess what? Humans are a great food source. They taste like pig. I mean...
How do you know?
Yeah, how do you know?
Like, every time he makes a point against what they're saying, they're just like, meme that. Let's have a little giggle. Let's just divert from the conversation because I have no bloody idea what to say. Like, come on.
Heard from enough people.
How do you know what pig tastes like?
Pig or human? Which one?
Yeah, we know what you're up to, you little bastard.
Well, like, again, I'm asking you, what is the morally substantive difference between a human and an animal, where it's okay to violate an animal's rights, but it's not okay to violate a human's rights? And you've given me a few answers, but you keep walking back your claims.
Sorry, I'm just eating a steak. It's good. Medium rare. Who cooked this? So I know that this is an argument with a lot of vegans about saturated fat, and I thought, I'm not going to compare studies because there are studies, and you know this, there are so many studies that point in the opposite direction. There just are.
Yeah,
I'm gonna speed them up because pain. Like, again, we're gonna see critical thought. It just, we're struggling.
Just because there are studies that point in the opposite direction, that doesn't mean they have as much scientific weight behind them.
So
there's a hierarchy of scientific evidence.
Yes.
Like, this is like Earth Mama medicine cringe. Like, it's just like so. Oh God, like. Some people say that this is bad for you, right? Right, there's like, there's cohort studies, there's meta-analyses pointing in the direction that there's a direct association between, this product and this health condition. Oh, but then there was this journalist on an article and he said it was fine. There was like this one study where they didn't even have any control variables. It was like, they were literally like, the sample size was 3 and that's a really legitimate study that I really don't know which could possibly, I just can't. There's just so many, in that other direction. It's just so confusing for me.
So if there's that many that are pointing in one direction and that many pointing in another, wouldn't it make sense that there is some conjecture and it's not hard scientific proof?
No, it is hard.
That's the case in I'm pretty sure in every like hypothesis that you could think of, all right, like what shape is the Earth? Like, is gravity real? Like, are we sitting on a turtle in a spaceship? Like, are we like anything like that? You have like each way being explored, one saying yes, one saying no, right? This is the case for everything. So if you wanted to like go down that route, you'd have to say, well, everything's just conjecture, to the point where you don't have an assumption on anything. There's nothing that makes you think, okay, well, this is probably more the case. Like, this is probably more so the case. There's consensus more so this way. Like, but like, no, I will just ignore that completely. Like, no, nothing is real at all. It's all theory. Nothing. I'm just going to go around with the assumption I can't believe anything's wrong. It's just like, okay, well, realistically, like, if we want to be picky, I guess we could say that, right? But like, practically, functioning out in the world, it's not a good idea to do that. You're not going to get very far.
Hard scientific proof. It's beyond any reasonable doubt.
So this is the problem with arguing studies, is because there are so many that point in one direction and another.
Like, imagine this ding dong, like saying this about something like smoking, right? That we can safely say, all right, that smoking is damaging. It's not good for you. But you could find studies or articles the other way that say, no, it's not actually that bad. In fact, there were funded studies. Like, if you look at the cigarette adverts from, I think it's like the 50s or something, they are scary. Like, there's like a camel. Oh, there's the camel cigarettes. They, even the doctors smoke them. They don't give them throat problems. It's like, take something like that, where it's quite clear that, we have a consensus that smoking is bad for you. But you could find stuff, you could find an article that says, no, actually, that would be good for you, right? Like, the nicotine in it, like, makes people happy, stress relief, stuff like that. Like, oh, yeah, like, you could say that. But if Isaac was sat there going, well, I don't really, like, this study's going the other way, like, so we can't really say whether or not smoking's bad. You'd look like a ding-dong. And I just see you as the same ding-dong, right?
With arguing studies is you have to have smart people arguing with them, and the intelligence is only coming from one side in this discussion.
So everyone who says that saturated fat doesn't cause heart disease is plain
they're
wrong.
Dead wrong.
And you're basing this on your experience as a YouTuber.
No, I'm basing this on research. And the hierarchy of scientific evidence. Like,
and you know how to read
the
studies?
American Heart Association. Yeah, so, buddy, even if I didn't know how to read studies, guess what? The American Heart Association, the Scientific Advisory Committee on Nutrition, they've all
Americans are
conducted
notoriously healthy
meta-analyses.
too. Americans are notoriously healthy country.
Like, guess what?
Is he really trying to assert that, like, let's just go back?
Even if I didn't know how to read studies, guess what? The American Heart Association, the Scientific Advisory Committee on Nutrition, they've all
Americans are
conducted
notoriously healthy
meta-analyses.
too.
Like, here's my point, mate. Like, it's very interesting how you bring up the American Heart Association when you look at, like, America and the people in it, and they're just not very healthy. So, like, am I implying here that maybe you can't trust them? Maybe. I don't know, because I have no fucking idea what's going on.
Notoriously healthy country.
Like, guess what? The biggest scientific bodies on nutrition that study these things, they agree saturated fat is a risk factor for heart disease.
Why is the country so cooked then?
Like, you didn't, like, it's weird how you're talking about,
I think he genuinely thinks that's an argument against what Richard's saying. I think he genuinely...
studies. Dude, you didn't bring up studies. You found a mainstream media article. It wasn't a valid scientific source.
Okay. So what I found was an article that led to about 12 different peer-reviewed studies that looked in the other direction. And okay,
you looked at a mainstream media article just because it links to studies or has a bibliography. It's not a valid scientific source.
So you wouldn't trust the mainstream on that one?
No.
Yeah, precisely, Andrea and Leon. Yeah, the like nicotine has been shown to have like benefits. I forgot what it was, but yeah, like Parkinson's and stuff. So therefore, smoking's not bad for you. Like, so, anything that says that smoking's like bad for you, we throw out the window, okay? Because it's all up in the air. It's all conjecture at this point. Like, we don't know really, do we? And because like, yeah, it has all these negatives. It's associated with like heart disease, cancer, maybe, like whatever. But like Parkinson's though. So there's like positives and negatives. So really, we can't really say whether or not it's bad. Just get a grip.
You'll trust the American Heart Disease Association.
I don't trust secondary sources regardless of what it is.
How is it a secondary source if there's a link there for you to go?
We're going to end up
It's a secondary source.
Would you ever consider like a veggie or something? Like I reckon you get heaps more viewers if you like had sex with vegetables.
No, I'm not into that.
I think they're talking about OnlyFans now. But basically, right? This is why Isaac took so long to debate, I think. Because he has no bloody clue what's going on. No clue whatsoever. You would think that by now, having spoken about veganism so much, he would actually have more to say, but no, nothing. Americans as a whole aren't healthy. It means health associates can't be right, obviously. No, obviously. Like, if you're from America and you're like a doctor or a dietitian, you can't be right by proxy, right? When it comes to like anything, because actually like the general person in the US is really unhealthy. So take that, America. Oh man. Yeah, so that was painful. I would really like to talk to Isaac and his genius buddy. I would gag. I'd gag for it. It'd be so good. I really hope that maybe one day I get the chance to. I don't know how I'm going to go about that, but I'll shoot an email and probably never hear back. But I would love to just go on there and talk to them. Maybe one day I'll get a chance and it'll be a right giggle. But there you go. Isaac and versus VG finally happened. And it was about as depressing and uneventful on the part of Isaac as you would expect. You know, the critical thinking was not present. Shock horror.